Good afternoon, welcome to Around Town. I'm your host Dick Patton. It's a pleasure to welcome you here on the first day of spring, and now if we can get some warm weather to go with it, it would be nice. But we still have the end of March to go through, and you never know what's going to happen in March. You can always get a good snowstorm, or you might get some green grass early, who knows. But March can be a tricky month, and so can April too. But anyway, I'm here today with my guest, Matthew, and Matthew hyphen something Seiler. I'm not even going to try that that first part of your last name, but I'll never do any justice to it, Matthew. But I'll tell you, it's nice to meet you there, because I know you're almost neighbors. We are over there on Manchester Street, and I know you're a busy guy because we got one of the banners behind me that you're actively working on, that you try to promote throughout the area, and then of course you also look for homeless vets that need a place to live or stay or whatever, and some of them appreciate it. Some, I'm sure, just as we've been talking the last 2 weeks, some could really care less. It's terrible, but you know, the winter shelters are, I would imagine they're going to be closing up if they haven't yet already. They'll be closing their doors pretty soon for the spring. They won't open up again now until next November or December area. But it's just too bad, because you know, you got some people who really would appreciate a bed to sleep in and some home cooked food or something, but then you got those who just want to be out in the woods, stay asleep.
It's like a security blanket to them.
Yeah.
They want to be left alone. It's amazing. I find it time and time again. We do what we can, and
yeah.
then I started the banner program last year. I've been working on homeless veterans for about 6 years. We do what we can. We try to stabilize them and get them their benefits, and hopefully show them a better life. But it's brutal. The banner program we started, I started last year in the summer. We hung our first 6 banners on September 11th.
Wow.
And then we hung 5 more in October. And they stayed up until after Veterans Day.
Yeah.
I started this program because 2.5 years ago my brother passed away in the military, and I had the privilege of putting up a banner for my brother in Attica, New York. So when I came home from my dad's last Memorial Day, sometimes I just want a long ride home and think about my trip and the time I spent with my family, so I wandered my way home on my 10-hour journey, and I went through 42 towns that had this banner program. I got to the Vermont border, they stopped. I got home in Concord about 2:30 in the afternoon. And I sat down, I unloaded my truck and kept thinking about this. And by 6 o'clock when my wife came home, I had an outline of a program. She looked at me and told me I was insane, which that's okay, I'm used to that. And the hardest thing has been doing it by myself.
Oh yeah.
I've had a lot of invisible support.
Yeah.
Certain departments of the government, certain people who know me as a Gold Star family member, they quietly push the word out there, and I get a lot of response. The service coordinator for the U.S. Army, Elizabeth Santos, has put me in 2 newsletters. I've gotten in 2 of Franklin Pierce's monthly newsletters, one for hanging his banner, and last fall they gave me the honor of laying a presidential wreath at Franklin Pierce's grave. It was quite an honor, and a bunch of school kids and military personnel, something different. I partake in Grease Across America and other veterans issues.
Yeah.
We've gotten support from people from the Patriot Riders, the Blue Star Mothers Group, the Gold Star Family Group, Honor and Remember, and some other organizations. And our Facebook page is growing. We're on Facebook at Concord for Hometown Hero Banners. And our Facebook following has grown. Last week we released a banner in Newport. And 2 weeks in a row now the week before we released one in Center Harbor. They're the first banners for the town. These families help us get into their town and the town to recognize our program and accept us. And 2 weeks ago we had Center Harbor with a woman, Bonnie Burgess. She's a widow of a Vietnam veteran. And she was instrumental. She's a real go-getter. And we got a good response. And then this past Monday I released a banner for Center Harbor that we delivered Sunday. And that was to the Rollins family. And Justin Rollins is pretty well known, and he was a young kid who got killed in the line of duty with 6 other soldiers, I believe. It was an attack on a convoy, or an exploratory mission, however they word that. And my Facebook page blew up.
Oh boy.
In one day, I reached 4,000 people, had a couple hundred reactions. So now if you like our page or like a comment or share the page, I feel obligated to respond. I want people to know they're being acknowledged. I want to thank them for spreading the word. It's been great. We have multiple other people who are trying to help us in different towns, Dover, Laconia. We're going to work on Meredith. We just started working on Hudson and Pelham, and I get these requests. The thing that absolutely amazes me, Dick, is most of the contacts I get are from parents who have lost a child.
Yep.
This banner we're displaying here in the center of it, there's a gold star representing he was killed in the line of duty. This is a gentleman from Concord, was the first Concord resident to be killed after 9/11. He earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star. Wonderful kid from everything I've learned about his life. But it's really sad to see how many young lives have been cut short with our continual war footing.
I know it is just
Non-stop. It's like, when's it going to end? And so I look at that, but it's a privilege to get to meet the families. I consider it a privilege and an honor to do the banners. I don't own the banners. I just get, the family wants a banner, they fill out an application, a qualification form, they give me a brief biography, they give me a photograph, and then we have the banner put together, printed. In fact, today after I leave here, I have to drop off 2 more for Center Harbor to a local printer here in town. Seymour Trophy has been wonderful with us. I have a photographic restorationist in Manchester, Christo Steed. He runs Chris Digital Photo and Print as a side business. He's a professional printer. But he's really great at giving us the quality we want. Our goal is, our banners are all about the photographs. It's all about the person. We don't put a lot of text. We don't use fancy text. We just want the photo to speak for it. This is a 2x4, which is used in Concord. The town of Newport, they're a little bigger. They're 30 inches wide by 60 inches tall. But most other towns accept the 2x4. In Concord, it's a permit hanging process on Main Street. We pay for a permit, they hang them. Pretty simple. Other towns, we have to get permission through the utility company, permission from the town, hanging issues, who's going to hang them, who's going to take them down. We generally try to leave the banners up from just prior to Memorial Day to after Veterans Day. Just basically the summer season. And I really want to remind people who see this show, Memorial Day is not about picnics and barbecues. Memorial Day really is an honoring of fallen soldiers who have fought for our country for years. And to people like me, and to some of the people I represent, who are Gold Star families, Happy Memorial Day is not what we want to hear. There's nothing to be happy about losing a family member. You know, I wish the wars didn't happen. I wish my brother was still here. I miss him. He was my baby brother.
Oh,
Yeah, he was the youngest of the family. He had done multiple tours overseas. He was a Patriot launch commander, and he had just re-enlisted for the final time before his death. We had actually been in communication. I talked to him the night before he died, and 2 nights before he died. We were making arrangements to go to a hockey game from my dad's house in Western New York. It was something we did when he was home on leave. We'd get together, go to hockey games, or get together and do motorcycle rides. So he really was a true friend. He's just not my brother, but he was a true friend and confidant. So every time I hang one of these banners, I get a little smile and think about him. I don't personally make money on this. It's eventually going to become a nonprofit. We're looking for people to join us to form a committee, organize a nonprofit. We will pay all the filing fees. I'm fortunate enough, my wife's a paralegal, so that way it's a little easier for it to get done. But the states really makes it complicated. I was surprised when I seen how difficult the state of New Hampshire makes it.
Oh, yeah.
I've had nonprofits in other states. You can form them in weeks. Not the way it works here, but we'll work within the guidelines, and we'll do what the state wants us to do. We'll pay their silly fees. We don't get taxed, so you got to get feed to death.
Well, I gotta get something for it.
You know, they got to get their money one way or another, and that's okay. That's life. We still live in a free country, and overall, it's a pretty nice place. I can't complain. I've done good. I moved here 30 years ago to work on old buildings. When I got done working on old buildings, my wife said I sat home and I was too boring. So I needed things to do. And so it is what it is. And but the program flourishes. And one of the things that helps us is we get a resident in a town who may not have the banner program, but if they work with us, we have promotional package. We have all types of information we give the town governments. And, you know, when we did Center Harbor, I met this woman, and she seen the second round go up with this one. And she wanted one for her husband, who was passed away recently, a Vietnam veteran, 3 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star with Valor, pretty decorated gentleman. Served in an unpopular war. And so she contacted me. My first question to anybody is, what town are you in?
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's some towns we're already working on. Some towns we're not making much. So she says Center Harbor, and I said, well, my wife's going to be on vacation. We'll come up and we'll meet you. It was in the fall, and we wanted to take a foliage ride. So we met her, and we gave her information, and we gave her an information packet. Wednesday afternoon. Friday morning, I get an email. She already has me scheduled in front of the Board of Selectmen to give a presentation.
Oh, Jesus.
In 2 days. Bless this woman's soul. So, election day comes along, and I go up there and I give my presentation to the selectmen in a small room. All these people coming in out of the town hall voting, looking at the banner in this little tiny room, and all the selectmen asked questions, and they had a stenographer who took notes. And so I'm pretty much done with my presentation. And I looked at him, I said, any more questions? And I hand them all the information they want. And they said, no, we're all set, okay. So all of a sudden, this resident who had been silent for all this time, she said, well, wait a minute, there's one thing we forgot. And the selectman looks at her and he says, what's that, Bonnie? Bonnie says, where's your vote? The only thing she did is she sat there and waited to see. She wanted them to vote in my presence.
Sure.
Now this is where a resident helps, because I can't ask a city council to vote or a town council to vote or
Nope.
board of selectmen. I have no authority in their town. I'm not even a resident. And it's a terrible thing. And I don't want to say politics plays a part in this because I'm apolitical in the whole banner thing. I don't get political at all. But if you're not a resident of a town,
Yep.
they can find hundreds of ways of blowing you off.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
They're not going to answer your emails. They're not going to respond to your phone calls. But boy, a minute the resident calls, a tax-paying resident, that gets their attention pretty quick. And I'm happy for it. So, like I said, you know, any citizens out there, I mean, this will be seen more than just in Concord. We're willing to work with you. We can make this happen. And, you know, the one thing, I had my brothers hung last Memorial Day in 2018. And so it was hung on a Thursday. They invited the family down. That Saturday I went down to Attica because I wanted to take pictures of all the banners and all the people they had. They had banners going all the way back to the Civil War. And I was like, you know, this is really cool. So I'm sitting there and I'm standing on the edge of the road and I'm photographing. And there's this middle-aged couple walking down the street. And they got these two little girls, probably 7 and 10. And the older girl looks at me and says, any of those people your heroes? And I wasn't far from my brother's banner, and I pointed to my brother's banner, and I said, yeah, Tom Seiler. And she says, oh, I remember him. She says, when he had his funeral, we all stood on the side of the road with American flags. And it was the unity the community showed to respect my brother.
Yep.
My wife and I pulled out of the funeral home following the procession to go to the cemetery. And I looked at my wife and I said, where's the blinking light? She said, what do you mean? I says, honey, there's a blinking red light. It should be right at the end of this road in front of us. She said, well, maybe it's behind that big flag. The village of Attica doesn't even own a ladder truck. But they had brought 2 in from other towns to hang a flag over Main Street. Due respect. I really appreciate all they done. And, but it was just really surprising to me. The community involvement. They get to know their history. They learn about these families that have served. And I mean, Attica, New York is a tiny town. There's 2,000 tax-paying residents.
Wow.
So the one thing I found interesting was it's a community environment. And they get to learn a little bit of history.
Yeah.
By identifying certain banners, like we have Franklin Pierce. Not many cities and towns can claim presidents. There's only 45 of them. Now I know if I get Hillsborough, I can also use Franklin Pierce again because he was originally from. But it was nice. Now we hang Justin Peller in here and Franklin Pierce. We hang both in front of the State House, but that's city property. One of the issues we have is this person's mother, who's going to be moving back to Concord, has requested an honor and remember flag over his banner. It's not a recognized flag yet. We're going to see if the city will let us get away with it. It's just a separate flag that's been started after 9/11. It's red, white, and blue. It has a flame. It has a folded flag. It has a gold star for fallen. And there's also a flag, honor and sacrifice. And these are just specialized new flags. Um, One of the issues, and I'm sure you've had this with your use of banners, is there is a state law against hanging on utility poles. And we're working with that. There is an exception for community service. So we're working with that. We do have people in the State House who are supportive of seeing the exception broadened in this law. It made sense not to hang things on utility poles in the 60s and 70s. Because back then, linemen used to climb utility poles. They were wooden. Nowadays, I can't remember the last time I've seen somebody climb a utility pole. So they use bucket trucks. So at this point, we're trying to show, and we don't want to interfere with traffic. We don't want them on a corner where a truck's going to turn and knock the banner down. One, we don't want any damage to our banners. But two, we also want to work with the communities. Center Harbor, which New Hampshire has many power companies, Center Harbor has allowed us to hang on utility poles. It's the co-op. The town of Campton's going to allow us to hang on utility poles. Franklin is working on it, which is Eversource, which will be a really big break. Because Eversource controls most of the populated part of the state.
Yep.
We don't mind if a town's only got one or two or three. We really don't. As people get to see them, it's my firm belief that more people will want them. They'll want to honor their grandfather, their father, their son, their daughter. We don't discriminate. We take all branches of the service. We charge $200 a banner, and we guarantee our banners for 3 years. We try to hang them for 3-year periods. And replacement banners are reduced cost because we can eliminate the photographic work. We can eliminate all the editing procedure. We already have a proof. I can reproduce a banner cheaper than I can print an original. So we try to pass that on. We're also looking for possible Boy Scouts, high school clubs, or organizations from high schools who may want to become civically involved and helping us promote ourselves. Yeah, the thing with Pennacook is they'll only allow us to hang one banner, and they were very discouraging. One of the issues we see, and this is becoming more relevant, the town of Campton's going forward with us. They have 220 banners hanging that promote the 250th anniversary of that town. But that was 2017. So now they're looking for something to replace those banners. So we got our way in. A lot of towns hang banners. Ashland is another town I know of. Plymouth hangs banners. Lincoln, Woodstock. But they hang banners to promote what they call economic development. They want to promote banners, shop here, play here. And so, in that sense, we understand that.
Sure.
And I feel that our banners promote economic development also. They get people interested.
Yep.
When we had a banner hanging last year, we actually had a visitor from Florida who couldn't stop getting enough information about our program, and she was going on.
Sure.
But it's just a nice way to honor and pay tribute to a local citizen. Our qualifications are simple. You either lived here at one time or do now.
Yep.
Or you attended Concord schools.
Yep.
And attending Concord schools include Merrimack Valley, Christian Academy, and any other school systems that are inside the city limits of Concord. I don't know them all. But I know there's a lot. And
There's private schools. And
yeah, and if you went to
they
school
catch
here,
up and,
even if you're from Deerfield or Loudon and you went to school here, if you played on a sports team, you wore a Concord jersey.
oh yeah, yeah.
Or Merrimack Valley. I know
Yeah.
they compete. I grew up in a town with 4 high schools. I understand that, unfortunately. But you're still in one town. You're still
Yeah.
you're still a community, and we really try to stress the community. This is the we have people going back to Franklin Pierce, 1830s. We have currently serving veterans, people who currently serve, and we now. In Concord alone, we have Spanish-American War, Korean War, Vietnam. No, we don't have a Vietnam in Concord. We have a World War II and a global war on terror. But as it comes, we'll get more people, and we recognize eras of military service that the Department of Defense recognizes, and all of our symbolism except the gold star pin is nationally recognized, and they're exact copies of the medals actually awarded to soldiers. We try to be very authentic in that. I want to thank you for the time to talk about my program. I appreciate my neighbor being gracious enough to invite me, and I hope the community learns a little more about our program. I truly do. It's
Well, it's a good one, and like I say, those flags that I'm seeing there on Loudon Road, the Heights Station, I didn't know that they were available.
yeah,
I was surprised when I saw that flying there.
down by the base of Manchester Street.
Yeah.
If I remember when that bridge was put back in, there's a new bridge there. It was replaced 10, 15 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
The old steel bridge.
Yeah.
It was my belief that was named either War Memorial Bridge or Korean War Memorial Bridge. And all them lampposts have brackets on to hang banners, but we can't hang there for some reason. Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, eventually, when I get larger, I'll force them to accept me in other places. Is my hope.
Well, of course. Yeah.
You know, once we get so many, I mean, at some point, I'm going to fill Main Street. I really, truly believe that.
Now, how much does this banner go for?
We sell them for $200.
Okay.
It costs us about $114 to produce a banner.
Yep.
And then we have hanging fees in Concord. Some towns we have hardware to hang them.
Yep.
So our $200 is an average,
Sure.
but every town gets charged the same amount. We keep the same statewide.
Okay.
We want to be fair.
Well, we've got to come to a close for our own town, and it's really, it's a very nice tribute. And I look at him and in his eyes and just realize, it's like, gosh, what a young guy. But now, you want to give out your phone number that they can call you at?
My phone number is 603-219-6792. My email is mattsseiler5757@gmail.com, and our Facebook page is Concord for Hometown Heroes Banners.
Very good. Well, with that in mind, if you would like more information, give Matt a call, and it's not too early with Memorial Day coming up in another couple of months, so, and then of course Veterans Day in the fall, but by all means, it's a tribute, it's a wonderful tribute, so give him a call, and he'll fill you in more information. I'm your host, Dick Patton. Have a great day, and enjoy the first day of spring and the whole spring season. Have a good day.